It is Friday, October 20th, 2023. This is another playoff edition of Baseball Today, presented to you by our good friends over at SeatGeek. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan along for the ride as well. Out of curiosity, is that your own Rays jersey that you wore?
I would never do that, Chris. I swear. Of course, it's my own Rays jersey. Who else would I own? Maybe Longo. I would jersey swap with Longo. They're not playing anymore. The Rays, they're out.
Spin around. Let's see. Yes, that is a true gamer right there.
It is. It is. Are they out of the playoffs? They are. Okay.
No. Yes, this show is presented to you by SeatGeek. I want you to go to your phone if you don't have the SeatGeek app and download it today because it is America's #1 seating chart for you for anything. If you use the code JohnBoy Postseason, all caps, all one word, you're going to get 10% off your next purchase as well. Whether you're a newbie or a returning customer, you can use it for the baseball playoffs, NFL, college football, upcoming NBA, NHL concerts, whatever it is, go use that code, save 10%. Tip of the cap before we get started. I know it was a rough day for the Phillies, but their owner, John Middleton, continues to impress. We've seen him do this several times throughout the playoffs where he's giving baseballs away. And here he is out in Arizona, like on a balance beam, like, my man, chill.
Dude, he almost got hurt here. When he goes here, he almost slips right there. You got to be careful. But you know what I like? I like it. I've mentioned this many different times throughout the postseason as he's done it. It's just like such an easy thing for him to do that garners, like, we're talking about him. The fans are talking about him. How easy is this, people? Like, he's figured out, all I got to do is throw some baseballs in the crowd. That's it. People are going to like me.
Can I ask a question? Why doesn't he have personal security that's like there to make sure he doesn't fall over? He's only a gazillionaire. Like, let's watch it.
I'm sure he's got somebody there. I don't think they expected him to get on the top of the bench, try to put his hand down full of baseballs on the top of the dugout. John, let's calm it down a little bit. I also want to see his arm. I don't want to see him like tossing the balls under the screen. Let's get some over there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, he's no Jim Crane. Jim Crane played college baseball and can actually throw it a little bit. So let's start with Jim Crane's defending World Series champs. The Astros even the ALCS after taking Game 4. Houston knocked Ranger starter Andrew Heaney out in the first inning after Texas came back and made it close. If one Jose doesn't get you, the other one will.
Here's the pitch. Swing and a drive. Three-pointer from way downtown. Palacalle. Si, senor. Abreu. A 3-run shot. Si, senor.
I think this team's been punched in the mouth a lot over the last 7 years, and when you're playing against a great ball club like them, you expect it to be challenging and tough. And we show up every single day to the ballpark, try and work our tail off and compete. And I think the guys do a good job of kind of being relaxed, but also being intense and focused. And it's fun. It's a fun group to be a part of.
That's Alex Bregman on the FS1 postgame show. That followed, of course, the Astros radio network with a fantastic call of Abreu's 3-run shot, which really put this one out of reach. Why were you giving him frowny face when he was talking?
Bregman?
Uh-huh.
Punched in the mouth a lot in these last 7 years. You guys have been to the ALCS 7 years in a row. I don't know about getting punched in the mouth a lot.
Yes, you do. You know that they use the fact that they cheated as fuel. That everybody hates us, and that's the punch in the mouth. That's what that is.
All right. I mean, I understand. If that's the case, then yeah, sure, I get it.
Yeah, that's what it is. But here's the thing. It's more a statement than a question. Texas has got to be very careful because it feels like the Houston rocket ship is taking off. You agree?
Am I going to Nick Castellano you right here and say, is there a question in there?
I just asked, do you agree?
Do I agree? I think it's still gonna be a great series. I'm not like when it was 2-0, we said I don't think that Houston is out of this without a doubt. Now that it's 2-2, I don't think that they're running away with this series either. I think Texas had their chance. I know it got away late from them, but if the 2-2 pitch gets made right there and Abreu pops it up, we're talking a 4-3 game. Like, things are completely different. I know it didn't happen that way, but here's the thing. This is what I think about the series. It's 2-2 right now. If you're the Rangers, you got to close it out in 6. Like you got Montgomery, and then you got Eovaldi, and you got to win these next 2 games. If he goes a game 7 and you're going Scherzer versus and Scherzer and company versus Framber and company, I think we're gonna have to lean Houston there. So you got to go win these next 2 games. And again, I don't think that I think the Rangers are fine. Like they're going to hit the ball. I don't think they're worried about it. They like who they have going in the next 2 games. I don't think this is some like foregone conclusion. The Astros are going to win this series whatsoever. But I do believe that if the Rangers want to win this series, they have to win in the next 2 games.
The problem is that it's not just Jordan now, even though he continues to smoke every pitch that comes his way. Man,
incredible.
He almost had a grand slam again last night. But now Altuve is on a bit of a heater. Bregman gets the first inning triple that gets them on the board and going early. Abreu, his OPS is like 350 points higher than it was during the regular season. Guy's just mashing. And now we're talking about a guy down the line. Really, the only guy that they can't count on right now that they have throughout the season is Kyle Tucker. Everybody else feels like they're getting good hacks on the ball and they're seeing it well. And even the bottom of the lineup is producing. You know, when Martin Maldonado's getting hits or walks to get innings going, that's bonus for them. And man, I don't know how you explain what they've done in Arlington this year, but they're 8-1. In the last 6 games, they've scored almost 70 runs. That's insane, dude.
There are some ballparks you just feel really good in, but to have it as a team go that way, it's an interesting one. I mean, it's not a good feeling if you're the Rangers knowing that Houston can come in. But you know what? This is what you say. We just went into their place and took 2 from them. So this is still very, very much a series. I know the Astros have stolen momentum and all that good stuff. I don't discount the Rangers whatsoever, people.
No, last night it felt like their last breaths came in the 5th inning after Abreu gave Houston that 7-3 lead, and then the Rangers get a couple guys on first and third and nobody out, and Semien gets doubled off of first, which, you know, it was the right call once Houston challenged. It was how many guys now are just going to take their batting gloves and give them to the first base coach?
We just talked about that on Talking Baseball. I said this is everyone. First of all, you should just give them to the first base coach, but everyone's going to be tucking them in because you don't want to be. It's just an extension of your body at that point, man.
Michelle couldn't understand. She goes, but it didn't touch him. I said, but it touched his batting gloves. She goes, but that's not a part of his body. I said, yeah, well, they're guys who get the jersey gets hit by the pitch,
the uniform,
not the actual body. It's all part of an extension. She goes, but that doesn't seem fair. I said, you're right. It doesn't seem fair, but it's just the rules. It's just the rules. Man, I felt so bad for Semien on that one because you could see him mouth it like, oh my God, it hit my batting gloves, didn't it?
Yeah, that's such a weird situation. So Tom Kelly, famed Minnesota Twins manager, a couple World Series, he was a first base kind of like coach, not like on the offensive side, like defensive side. Like he loved to teach how to play first base. And he was very good at it, like very, very good at it. One of the things he always said, though, about that situation, especially when a guy's holding you on at first base and you're taking your lead off at first base as a runner, he would always say, if the ball gets hit behind you, go. No matter what, even if it's a line drive. He goes, you're going to be out anyway. Like, just go get a good jump. Now, Jose Abreu behind Marcus, that's a little bit different situation. But even then, it's like, man, like most of the time, you're just going to be doubled up there. Marcus did a good job of realizing where Abreu was and that he caught it and he tried to get back there. But it's just a very, very difficult spot to be in as a runner.
Yeah, I get it. All right, so here we go. Tonight, rematch of Game 1. Montgomery and Verlander. Texas won that one 2-0. Then the series goes back to Houston for Game 6 and possibly Game 7. Who do you like?
I just kind of gave you my synopsis of what I think. I think the Rangers need to win in these next 2 games to be able to win this series. If it goes to Game 7, I just don't have a good feeling for them. So it's Verlander and Framber versus Montgomery and Eovaldi. We got Jordan doing everything he can, Altuve doing everything he can. It seems to me like the Astros are like if I had to like lay out favorites, for the rest of the series, I'd probably say the Astros are favorited in this series now. What do I think is actually going to happen? I think the Astros win 7.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I think it goes 7. I think they win.
I said it on yesterday's show, and people gave me a lot of shit for it. I said, in my opinion, Texas, it's a must-win for them tonight. People are like, you're an idiot. It's only 2-2 if they lose. And yes, it is. And can Texas win the next 2 or 2 of the next, whatever math you want to use? Absolutely. Can they? Yes. In my baseball thinking, I thought that they would have to be up 3-1 in order to win this thing. In fact, my first cousin, who I love dearly, Debbie Krause, has lived in Dallas her entire life and is a lifelong Rangers fan. So all year she was texting me about this stuff. And then I started like shit talking the Rangers a little bit down the stretch. And she goes, Chrissy, she calls me Chrissy because she's a little older than me. She goes, Chrissy, what are you doing? Why are you picking on my? I said, I'm not picking on them. I'm not picking on them. Like all the people who write in our chat on YouTube, in our comments section, we don't hate the Rangers. We give opinions. You might not like what you're hearing, but it doesn't mean that I dislike the Rangers. Yesterday was really the first time in the playoffs where the bullpen fell apart, where it didn't give them a chance to get back into a game. So I applaud them. This was really the first time in 9 games where that hasn't happened. And that's a tip of the cap to them. I just think Houston has a little too much, unless Corey Seager puts together 5 at-bats tonight, kind of like he did yesterday. He hit one out, and they're going to need him and Simeon, who did get at least 1 knock yesterday, to provide, like, the leadership. Get them going. And you can't be down 3-0 when you're hitting first tonight.
If they win tonight, if the Rangers win tonight, Montgomery goes and shoves tonight.
Yes.
And you're talking win or go home for the Astros with Framber on the mound. The way he's looked and the way Eovaldi's looked, and I think it's, obviously it changes the perception and the, what's going to happen in the series. But with 3 games to go, I don't know, man. I think, honestly, none of us know what's going to happen. Dirty little industry secret there. We're just giving our opinion. I think everybody collectively in the media has just seen the Astros do it time and time again. It's hard to pick against them, essentially.
Yep. All right, so ALCS back in gear later today. In the meantime, you have one of those friends or family members who you say, God, they got everything. What the heck? They got another birthday coming up. What do I get them?
Yeah.
How about this bad boy? MOVA globes. It makes rotating globes that are constantly in motion. They're powered by ambient light. It means don't put them under a heat lamp if you work at McDonald's or something like that, because it's not going to spin around. I'm telling you, it's not. Just open the shades near your window, put it up on the sill, and watch it spin around.
Yeah, look at right here.
Yeah. They have magnets. They provide movement, so no batteries. There's no messy cords are needed. They're available in over 40 designs, which includes sports, world maps, outer space, famous artwork, and much, much more. And as an official MLB partner, MOVA is proud to present this unique baseball memorabilia. Right now, they got 6 clubs that are there for purchase: Dodgers, Cubs, Giants, Astros, Red Sox, and Yankees. Those are all available now, and 30 teams are coming next season. All 30! But right now, you can enjoy 10% off all officially licensed MLB MOVA globes when you use the code BT10. That is BT10. So go order your globes now with the link in the description. Plouffe, I can tell you, it is very therapeutic. You sit there and you stare at this bad boy, and you're like,
I like it a lot. And they're classy. Like that's the thing is, okay, when you have a desk or something, you don't want it to look just like a mess or just like, this random thing. Like, this is a classy looking piece of art.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as they get my face and your face on a globe, this business is going to take off.
You're right. I can smell it now. Tens of people will buy that.
Yeah.
All right, we move on over to the NLCS. Diamondbacks, they have a chance to pull even later today with the Phillies after some 9th inning magic in Game 3.
Kimbrel deals an 0-1. That's into center field. It's down. In to score is Smith. And the Diamondbacks walk off the Phillies
must-win game, and gives us momentum going forward too. You know, being down 3-0 definitely would have been tough. He wouldn't have been out of it, but it was definitely a big one for us.
That is Pavin Smith, who came in as a pinch hitter and eventually scored the game-winning run, even though he had some questionable base running throughout the day as well. But let's talk about the hero of the game, Brandon Pfaadt. We wondered out loud whether or not he would be able to handle the heat. And for the second straight time in Game 3 against a mega squad, he puts up a goose egg. He also didn't walk anybody. He's the first pitcher ever to do that in back-to-back postseason starts. Dude, you talk about the unexpected in October. That performance moves right to the top of the list, in my opinion, for this year.
No, he's been great the last 2 starts out. I mean, you talk about the Dodgers. He had a hiccup first start against the Brewers. Dodgers was great, ended the series. This start, he was great. Got him right back into it. And the thing that really impressed me with Pfaadt was getting these guys to chase and disrupting their timing. He's not like really a guy that has a herky-jerky motion. It's kind of all like there, and usually that's good for you. But they were late on his fastball. They were out in front of his sweeper. At the beginning of the game, he was filling up the strike zone, and then towards the end of his outing, he was making them expand at the top of the zone. Like, he was just doing everything right. I think really, and I mentioned this on Talking Baseball, getting Bryce to ground into this double play right here was massive. Putting up a 0 in the first inning was awesome for him. But then he just went to work, man. Like, he had the invisible ball going. Like, they were just not hitting it. He's throwing it by guys. Top of the zone was really working out for him. You got to tip the cap, man. It's a young dude who, like, everyone was discounting in, like, oh, what are they going to do Game 3? Like, how many pitches is he going to throw? 30 pitches? No, man. Like, he's gone out now 2 times in a row. He's got all the confidence in the world. So this is, like you mentioned, one of the more impressive, like, players that we've seen that kind of show up in the postseason has been Brandon Pfaadt.
Yeah, I really actually thought that first at-bat against Schwarber did a lot. Because Schwarber at the end of the at-bat, and it was a called third strike, he looked back at Dan Iasonia, and he was like, really? Is that where we're going to be? And guess what? Iasonia was there and there and there and there all day.
He missed a lot of pitches, yeah.
It was not a pretty scorecard for Dan Iasonia back there. But so what? You got to take advantage of that if you're a pitcher. And Pfaadt did, and so did Ranger Suarez, who, by the way, now has a .94 postseason ERA among pitchers that have appeared in at least 8 playoff games. That is the lowest ERA ever. The guy who's right behind him, Sandy Koufax.
Oof.
I guess you're okay if you're doing that. But you know what? Here's the thing I love most about the playoffs and series like this. Each game is truly its own chapter. You can have one game where a team gets just knocked all around the building. Then you can have another one where it's this tight and the team misses some opportunities. Another team doesn't really get many. And it's, you're just so anxious on every pitch, and every little play means something because nobody's hitting the ball anywhere. It's just fun because who knows what Game 4's chapter is going to be like.
Yeah, I hope that the Diamondbacks make a series out of this. Now, like, they got back here and they're 2-1. What do you feel like about this series? Like, you asked me what I felt like about the Rangers, Astros. What's the feeling here? Do you think this is just one game for the Phillies and they're just going to go take the next 2 because they're just the better team? Or do you think this is like spark something in the Diamondbacks to let them go on a little run here?
So it would actually get us to our 4th question of the day, which is I want to lay out the pitching matchup. It's Cristopher Sanchez, who will be throwing for the first time in the playoffs for the Phillies, left-hander, and Joe Mantiply, another lefty. He's going to start a bullpen game for Arizona. And so the question was going to be, how worried am I about Arizona using a bullpen? Because that's not what Cristopher Sanchez is. He is a starter. He's a guy that made many starts for Philadelphia this year. Now, he's only thrown 1 inning in the last 3.5 weeks, so I don't know how much he's built up, but he's not out there to pitch just the first and move on. I think today is a recipe for disaster for Arizona. I really do. I just think you're asking, I mean, what does Mantiply throw? To 4 bad? I mean, they hope he gets through maybe Bryson Stott. If he goes a second inning, at best, that's what he's going to do. So you're talking about using a minimum of 6 pitchers and maybe more than that. That's tough. That's a tough go against
You
the
don't
Phils.
like that at all. And you don't like bullpen games, and you feel like it's just one guy has to mess up and everything goes awry. But I disagree with you. I think as a hitter, I never liked bullpen days. You're facing a new guy every single time. You're definitely, I mean, most of the time, if the manager's doing it correctly, you're having your, reverse platoon advantage up there. So you're like having a tough at bat, according to the numbers most of the time. You're right. Some guy could mess up and give up a couple runs, but like, it's not an easy day for a bullpen day. It really isn't. You really have to, you can't just game plan for a guy and say, okay, I'm going to face this guy a couple times. And, I can see a pitch the first at bat because I know I'm going to see more. It's like, no, man, these guys, one after another, new fresh arm. You could game plan at the inning before and say, okay, I'm going to get this guy. So let me get my mind right for him. But then you might get pulled right before you're at bat. It's like, the game planning goes out the window essentially when you have a bullpen day. So it messes with your routine. Now, do the Phillies care about that? Are they going to lay down offensively? No, of course not. And they could look to take advantage of some of these guys. I know it is difficult to have 6 guys, on a given day, but I don't think it's as much of a disaster as you think, at least. Or like, I mean, I'm not setting up in my mind for the Phillies to go just score 10 runs today against this Diamondbacks bullpen. I mean, they obviously
Listen,
could.
I understand the thought behind it. I really do, in part because all season long when we talked about the Diamondbacks, we were like, okay, great. They've got Gallen and Kelly, and then who?
Yeah.
Like what? Brandon Pfaadt did not pitch well during the regular season.
No, he did not.
Let's not pretend that this is something that was building from August on. It wasn't. The guy had an ERA of almost 6 during the regular season. They were never comfortable with who was the 3, 4, and 5 guys in the rotation. So I understand why they're doing it.
That's the thing is, how's Torrey going to navigate it? Like, you have to be on point as a manager today. When you got a bullpen game, especially against these Phillies, like, you have to pull the strings right at the right moment. You got to be able to know when a guy is done. You got to know when to let a guy ride a little bit. Like, I want to see, like, if someone goes out and has a quick 1, 2, 3 inning, like, is he going to put him back out there?
Have to.
It's all just, I'm excited to see how he does this. He's very smart. He's very good at this. They've been doing it throughout the season. So, like, he's ready for it.
Yeah, and Strom is a great pitching coach.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, let's remember, he came from Houston, where he's had a tremendous amount of success. And by the way, there's nothing to say that this isn't going to turn into a bullpen game for Rob Thompson either.
Sure.
I mean, we don't know what Cristopher Sanchez is going to do. He was a starter during the year quite a bit for them. But as I mentioned, guy's thrown 1 inning in 3.5 weeks. They're happy if he gets through 3, probably. Maybe gets into the 4th.
Is Walker involved in this game at all?
Isn't that weird, by the way?
Yeah, it would be. If I was him, I'd be like, what's going on? I'd like to pitch on my team.
Well, let me just think about the roster at the top of the, Ketel Marte's swinging it both ways, so it doesn't matter. Corbin Carroll, lefty. Who else at the top? They put Pham in the 3 spot a lot. Christian Walker. So against the lefty, I don't know.
I'm trying to see when the last time he pitched. I'm getting his game log.
Sanchez? It was the end of September.
No, I'm talking about Walker.
Oh, Walker. Yeah, I don't think
it says September 30th. He pitched 7 innings against the Mets.
Yeah. So I think he and Sanchez
pitches.
pitched the same day, I believe.
So we're talking 20 days.
Yeah.
Ago. 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeesh. It's really interesting how rosters are constructed and then used in October these days. It really, really is fascinating.
I mean, I'm looking at some of the numbers. Walker from the beginning of July to the end was a 4.86. Kind of lines up with his overall numbers. Okay.
Yeah. Would have been fun watching him go against one of his old teams. Though.
I mean, you just paid him $4 years, $72.
Yeah, but we talk about this all the time.
Doesn't matter.
How many starts did he make during the year?
31.
That's what they paid him for.
172 and 2/3 innings.
That we paid you for those 172 innings. That's what we
15
paid
and
for.
6.
Don't worry about the record.
Oh, we don't care about wins anymore in this sport.
You know what we do care about? The SeatGeek question of the week. And we want to thank everybody that sent in their outstanding questions. But we ended up going with this one from Joseph Yauk. I apologize if I mispronounced that terribly. Yauch. But it doesn't matter because you are getting $1,000 in SeatGeek credit. His question was, which celebrities would you choose to give a pep talk to each of the 4 remaining teams? So it's kind of fun. We're going to split it up. Plouffe is going to do the American League. I am going to do the National League.
Okay, I'm going to start. Let's go 1-1. I'm going to start with the Rangers. They just got punched in the mouth. Series tied 2-2. I think they need some comedic relief. I think they need to take a deep breath. So I looked up, who's from Dallas? Who are these guys? They're from Dallas. And one guy stuck out immediately to me that I think will be great. Owen Wilson. I think Owen Wilson makes everybody laugh. And if he went in there and gave a little pump-up speech, I think the tension would leave the room. You see the nose, all of his movies. You could do some Wedding Crashers type stuff. I think Owen Wilson will be great for them.
I was going to ask you if he needs to bring Vince Vaughn to really hammer it home.
I would love that. But him on his own, he's great. I think he would just like calm everybody down. Everyone would laugh and they'd go in and feel good about themselves.
Do you watch Wedding Crashers every time it's on? Like when you're flipping through?
I mean, that's one of the movies we'd stop and watch a few lines for sure. It's great.
Yeah. It's very, very funny. Bradley Cooper is hilarious in it, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You and I are kind of on a similar wavelength here.
Okay.
For Philadelphia, they're kind of they're loose, they're fun, they're a little bit all over the place, right? They don't seem uptight at all. So I too have dipped into the comedic world. When you think of comedy from Philadelphia right now, who do you think about?
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart. It's a no-brainer for me. Just come in, just do like 15 minutes of your routine. Those guys will be feeling great. And then they aren't going to care about Dan Iasonia's shitty strike zone or anything else. Won't have a care in the world. They'll just be hitting bombs. So that
I think Kevin Hart could go anywhere, but obviously Philly makes sense for him. But he's one of those guys that's like, okay, Kevin Hart's going to come talk to us. I like it.
Yeah. In fact, after the Eagles won the Super Bowl 52, I was hosting the post-game show. He was on the field. Perhaps he had a few pops during the game, and he came up. And there were some Eagles guys on there, so he was celebrating with them, and he started saying words that you unfortunately can't say on cable television. And Dion grabbed the mic from him. He's like, "You got to go. You got to go. That's it." Leadership.
I like it. I like it.
All right, what do you got for Houston?
This was kind of a no-brainer for me.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, I thought maybe let's just have one person in there, but I decided no, we're going to change things up. I was going to say Beyonce at first because it's a no-brainer, right? Like,
oh, yes.
Beyonce's Beyonce, very beautiful woman. She's been on the big stage her entire life. She knows how to handle the pressure, all these things. She's everything. But I'm like, you know what? If we can get Beyonce in there, let's just get all the Destiny's Child in there.
Oh!
Yes!
Like mini
Kelly
concerts.
Rowland, Michelle Williams, Beyonce. I mean, come on, people. I want to be in that room.
Yeah.
You guys know I love Olivia. She's
Yes, you do.
my everything. But to see Destiny's Child and Beyonce and Kelly Rowland's kind of like my jam, to be honest with you.
Okay, settle down. Before you get into too much trouble, let's move on to the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Hey, Kelly.
All right, this guy is not from Arizona. He lives out there now. He is the most decorated Olympian in history. Because I think Arizona needs to still believe in itself a little bit. So I'm going to have none other than Michael Phelps speak to the team. 28-time Olympic medalist. For a long time, and I saw Phelps' entire Olympic career, it seemed so easy for him. But then at the end, people were like, he ain't going to win no medals. And here he is. After like his 16th Olympics, he was still putting hardware around his neck. So he can relate to when people don't believe in you. How do you get it going? Why not? And he's been a part of a team. People think swimming just strictly individual. Arguably, his greatest medal accomplishment was in a relay race. So, pretty cool. No, you're
okay.
not.
I would take it.
You wouldn't like it if Michael Phelps entered one of the rooms that you were playing in. You'd be like, oh, okay. The greatest Olympian ever.
Is that is he?
Yes, 28 medals. He's won 28.
I have nothing against Michael Phelps. Of course, I'd like to hear him talk and get his perspective. I would be more like looking at him like, why are you so amphibious, bro? Like, let me see the web, the web fingers. I want to see all that stuff. You're like weird disjointed shoulder blades, whatever it is.
Okay.
I'm into it. I'm more into Bootylicious, though.
All right, enough.
I don't think you're ready for this, Jet. You know that song? When that came out, I think I was, 2002, so I was 16. Holy smokes.
Congratulations, Joseph. You are the winner. You can take one of us if you want to, but we're not begging. Okay, quick. Winners today. Quicker.
Rangers. I think Montgomery comes out and shoves again, and I'll go with Phillies.
Do we have a World Series matchup by the time we return on Monday?
No, I think it's going to go 7 for the ALCS.
Oh, I say no because I think that Arizona wins one more game, and this thing goes back to Philly on Monday.
Well, is there 2
game
games on
5
Monday?
There could be.
Okay.
There could be games 6 and 7.
Yes.
So we'll see. I don't think we have our World Series matchup when we resume.
Okay.
All right. Fun show. Everybody enjoy your goo gobs of baseball. 2 games today, 1 tomorrow, 1 Sunday. And then we'll see how many we get when we return to class on Monday. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, and the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe, your wife would like to speak with you now. I am Chris Rose. We will see you Monday on Baseball Today.